So for the video, we were just saying that your business studies report during an examination would not be nearly the length of a report in your actual take home. Okay? Are we done with those sheets? Have we got enough?
We're just doing enough.
Doling them out? No worries.
Yes.
We should have 3 spares. Come on, girls.
Is it all the same?
Can you go?
Yeah, and we got these.
Alright, where's my spares, girls?
And there's other different
Spares of the scaffolds.
You get this?
That's your one. You've got it. The second one's still coming around as well. Alright, so girls. First up, let's have a look at these scaffolds that we've been given. Okay? You'll see here that there are a variety of ways that you can organise your answers. Okay? These are just based on 3 different verbs. Explain, describe, and assess. Okay?
Where's the other one?
The other one is coming around slowly. Is that the spares? Yeah. Do you know the 2 shapes?
So look at the scaffold.
So you got that? Form and form? Yes. That's what I said. You got the second one? Yep, both?
So,
Yes. Alright, so. Thank you. Let's have a look. Okay? You can have a look at that scaffold more closely when you're actually at home. Let's have a look at the scenario. Okay? So in your prelims, you will be given a scenario and things that you have to do with that scenario. The exact same like you were given with your assessment that you took home. Okay? You will see that it's pretty much set out in the exact same manner as well. Okay? So looking at this is exactly to appear in your prelims. Okay, it's a 20-mark response. Starts in section 3. You should be allowing about 30 minutes for this section. Now keep in mind, if you do other sections quicker, obviously you get more time to do this one. Okay? And this is a harder one to get done in 30 minutes than the other ones. Now, when you get all the way to HSC, how much time do you get?
An hour?
3. Okay, you get about 3-ish hours. That diffuses about to maybe an extra 10 minutes for this section.
So how long do we have in
Prelim, 30. Okay?
together?
Altogether, 2 hours and 5 minutes reading time. Okay? So, if you do the other sections quickly, you get time again for this one. Let's have a look here. In your answer, you will be assessed on how well you demonstrate knowledge and understanding relevant to the question. Use the information provided, communicate using relevant terminology and concepts, and present a sustained, logical, and cohesive response in the form of a business report. That last dot point, I would say, is actually more important than the others. Cohesive and in a business report. Meaning I actually have to be able to read it and know what the heck you're talking about. Okay? And it has to be sustained arguments. Now, one of the things that I would consider really important is all you all bring one of these. A watch. Okay? Don't be relying on the clock out the front because, well, let's be honest, they're almost always broken. Okay? And then you're going to be looking at that clock going, yeah, mad, I've got 2 hours left. And then an hour later, you're still thinking, yeah, mad, I've still got 2 hours left. Okay? I've seen it before. Okay? Don't rely on that one. Bring your own watch. What type of watch can you bring?
Smartwatch.
Analog, not smartwatch. Good work, Shireen. Yeah. Shireen's just sitting there answering a phone call in the middle of the exam. You're like, oh, what?
Come on, I'm going to exam, bro, leave me alone.
Okay. So let's have a look at a potential scenario. Okay? Just going to turn off the centre bit. So, Johnson & Sons Mechanics is a recently established automotive repair shop that provides repair services for its singular customers, meaning it doesn't have massive groups of customers, it doesn't supply to other businesses. It's only got single customers, not relationship status single, okay? Its owners, Marcus Johnson and his son Christopher Johnson, have only recently started the business 6 months ago and have no formal training. Yes, congratulations. Okay? Currently there is no formal business plan and they are running... Thank you.
Johnson and Sons.
Or did you make this?
Yeah, I made it. Yeah. Thank you.
Do on purpose.
Thank you.
Christopher with the K though.
Alright. Currently there is no formal business plan and they are running on a day-to-day operational basis with high amounts of stress for the owners. They have no other employees, however in the future they want to hire more. They also want to ensure the business is profitable and has a regular customer base. They are considering hiring a business consultant to advise in the establishment of their business, establishing the business's long-term goals and business plan, and enacting a marketing strategy to gain more customers. So in your prelims, you will be given a scenario like this where you're basically going to be given a snapshot of the business. Okay? What's going well with it, what's going wrong with it, and what they generally want to do in the future. Now keep in mind, nothing there is incredibly specific. Okay? It's quite vague information, information that you can interpret yourself for your own benefits. Okay? They'll rarely give you statistics and figures and things like this for the business report. And if they are, what do you think they want you to do with them? Use them absolutely, but also analyse them. So if they give you a number of sales, okay, they want you to analyse them and go, are they high, are they low, why? Okay? So, breaking down the scenario, okay, go away. The business name should absolutely be referred to in the report. Do not do this sort of abstract nonsense where you just write about general businesses. You must always refer to the scenario by name in your report. Okay? Now, we can see here that if we break down the actual scenario, it gives us a whole bunch of things. Let's just actually go to the question first, because that would help. You've been hired as a consultant to write a report for the owners. In your report, number 1, describe the skills of effective management. Number 2, explain how management can respond to challenges at this stage of the business life cycle. And number 3, assess the importance of a business plan for the business. Now keep in mind, for this one section, you have 3 different verbs. And this is one of the main things how business studies is really different from like English and history and things like that. For a 25 marker in English or history, you get 1 verb. Go on, do it all. You have 3 different verbs here, which means that you cannot be doing this entire business report in the exact same manner as you would for every single dot point. Each dot point is requiring a different thing. Okay? So when we're looking at describe, for example, we are looking at to provide characteristics and features. What are we providing characteristics and features of? Is it? Effective management. We're providing characteristics and features of effective management. So effectively, we have to tell the audience what is effective management, what does it look like? Okay? Or more particular, the skills of effective management. Okay? Now keep in mind that each one of these will be one of your subheadings. So when you're putting in your business report, just like I was saying with the take-home one, it won't be this sort of just blocks of essay. It will be under proper headings in your report. What this does is it breaks apart your report for the marker and makes it very clear for them what they are marking and that you're doing what you're meant to be doing. if you don't have headings, everything starts to become blurred, and your marker starts looking at that going, this is not in a proper business report fashion, and I don't know what I'm reading. Okay? So your first heading would of course be skills of effective management. Number 2, explain. When we're talking about explain, we're looking at relating cause and effect. What are we looking at the cause and effect of? Challenges at this stage of the business life cycle. Now, if you don't know what stage of the business life cycle it is, you need to look at the scenario and look for hints and clues. Okay, we were doing this the other lesson where we're basically saying, can you identify which stage of the business life cycle a business is at just by looking at its external and internal components? Okay, by a couple of different facts. And assess the importance of a business plan. Assess meaning you need to make a judgment of a value. Okay? So for this one, you must make the judgment. No judgment, you're stuck immediately at sound level. You will not get above sound if you don't make the judgment. And don't make it clearly as well. Okay? So let's have a look at breaking this down. Okay, so we talk about how a business plan should always be used. Only recently started the business. It gives us a hint at the stage of the business life cycle and should be mentioned. If they've only just started the business, what stage of the business life cycle are they obviously at? Establishment. Okay, that means you have to think about the problems that are going to be encountered at the establishment business cycle. Okay? Let's have a look here. It says that they are running with no formal business plan and that they are running on a day-to-day operational basis. What we're looking at here is we're looking at problems that the business might be facing at this stage. Well, we know they're in an establishment phase, and we know that they've not got a formal business plan and they're running on an operational basis day to day. If they're running on an operational basis, what are they not running at? They're not running at a strategic basis, which means that they don't have a what? Business goal or long-term business plan. Okay, they're only dealing with the short term. Do you think that's a good place for a business to be at when it first starts on establishment phase? No, that's a really, really bad place. So they're basically dropping hints all throughout the scenario. Things that you have to reference in your actual answer. Okay? So, when we're looking at describing the skills of effective management, you're going to be breaking it apart, going through all the different skills, but then applying the ones that will actually matter the most to this business, or the ones, even if they don't matter the most to this business, the ones that you can actually explain the best. Okay? Ideally, you want to go for the ones that matter the most to the business, but if you can't frankly think of the ones that matter to the business, then you go for the ones that you can explain the best. Okay? Because you don't want to give this like one sentence description of the one that actually relates to the business and not be able to do anything else for it. Okay? So let's look at breaking this down. Okay? So this would be the executive summary that you would give for your actual business report in prelims. Okay? Now, do we... Yes?
Addition doesn't have the right sheet. Well, this one.
Which one are you missing?
Section 3. Which one?
Yep.
I've got the second part.
That's right. Does that mean you're missing one as well?
Oh, it's all three. I only have two. Count the other. What one it is? Thank you.
No.
So I'm gonna call this
Sion. Yes. Also Sion, Sion, Scene. Pick a number.
I didn't know there was
Bean.
Alright, so let's have a look at how we would write an executive summary at prelims. Okay? Now keep in mind, your executive summary might be a tiny bit smaller than this one, but it wouldn't be that much smaller.
The one in the example you gave us, the girl who, I don't know, girl, boy that got 20 out of 20 in a
Yep.
business report, her thing was like really small. Like,
Yes.
Like 2 sentences.
Yeah, okay? And it depends on how you're doing it, okay? Now, the ones that I was looking at all this morning and last night, their business executive summaries were approximately that length. But you can get by, exactly as Samar was saying, by having this even shorter. So long as you're getting the core components, okay? So, the first thing that you do in a business summary, executive summary rather, is write a broad sentence relating to the purpose of the report. Very simple, you're more or less just repeating and regurgitating. This report will address the concerns that the newly established business, Johnson & Sons Mechanics, has with relation with educating its managers on proper business conduct. Please, please, please make sure you mention the name of the business in the topic sentence. Okay? Specifically, this report will describe the skills of effective management, including the skills of vision and strategic thinking, and interpersonal communication skills. This report will also explain how management can respond to challenges at the establishment stage of the business. You should be using syllabus terminology when you are going through this. And the syllabus terminology here has just been underlined. Okay? Now, if you look at what's actually happening here, all they're doing is repeating the scenario and then repeating the scenario questions or what the directives were. So for your executive summary, really all you have to do is parrot what the directives are. Because that's what they're asking you to do for the business report. So that's what you're saying. I'm going to be doing this in the business report. Okay? Please, I know at least 3 of you will do this because that's the numbers every single time. At least 3 of you will use personal pronouns. Okay? No I, no me, no you, no we. Okay?
That's
None.
gonna be hard for me.
Yeah, I know it is. Okay? But try your best. Write in third person. At the very least, Shirin, I do not want to see I or me. Okay? If you have to drop a you or us or things like that, okay, I can forgive. But no I or me.
No I or
Me.
so the or includes in the me too?
Yeah, so take you out of this equation.
Okay, so there's no or.
There's no Shirin. No Shirin.
Come on, sir. I can't just do what I mean.
Okay. This report will also explain how management can respond to challenges at the establishment stage of the business. Lastly, the importance of a business report will be assessed with being strongly recommended to the client on the basis that it will improve their overall performance and stop their business operating on a day-to-day basis and begin future planning. This issue has caused difficulties for the business owners who are encountering great amounts of stress. Now keep in mind, I'm directly identifying things from the stimulus or scenario that I've been given. The more you engage with the stimulus, the better it is. Because it's actually showing that you are interested in the client, okay? And that you're not just giving them some general business studies brush. You're actually engaging with their scenario.
That's not a brush, it's a bullet.
It's a bullet. How big's your bullet, mate? Hurry up.
Because it's not something soft, it's something hard, right?
It's a painting question all over again. All right, so what would we do? Okay, we would break down our business report into 3 main bodies. That's the 3 directives that we've got. Would all bodies be the same length with each other?
No.
Absolutely not. Okay, some bodies are going to be finished relatively quickly. Okay? Now, one of the questions that we can get asked is, can we draw in the examination? Yes, please do.
Oh, we can?
Yes.
So it's like art.
Shirin's sitting there on her business report making the best logo for the business, you know? Yeah, you might not have effective management, but look at this awesome eagle carrying cars, you know?
But you know what's funny? I don't know how to draw.
Why is it funny? Alright, so
Stick figure, dude. This is stick figure.
breaking this down, okay, our main body paragraph would be about describing the skills of effective management. So before we go into very specific skills, we have to give a very general overview. Okay? Making sure that you've got your heading. You don't have to put main body 1, that's just for the sake of this. Okay? Making sure you have a heading for each one of your major paragraphs. You're going to start by writing a small paragraph introducing the skills of effective management. Keep in mind, small paragraph here means like 1 sentence, 2 sentence. Okay? That's what we were getting at with Miguel and things like that. So, there are many skills involved in the practice of effective management by managers that will allow a business to succeed. Many of these skills are demonstrated in figure 1.1 below. Now this is an important one. Remember to label your figures. Okay?
So it is
Yes, absolutely. Okay? If you just put figure 1.1, summary of what figure is, done. That's all you need to do. But you must label it. Okay? Sorry.
No matter what it,
Okay. So, I always say mind map is sort of the best one for these. Okay? It's the one that you can most easily pull out in the middle of an examination scenario, and it's the one that readily demonstrates that you have knowledge of what you're talking about. So with this one, they're asking you to describe what effective management is or the skills of it. The first thing that we're going to drop is a mind map of all the skills of effective management that we know. Now you might not know them all, and that's okay. But the more you put out, the better. And it's not like you have to write paragraphs for every single skill of effective management. Okay? You're going to pick the ones that you know the best and relate to the business. So you might have 10 of these, and these aren't all of them. These are just ones I've put. You might have 10 of these, but you're only going to be writing about 2 of them. But the fact that you've put 10 there shows me as a marker, Samar knows what she's talking about. She obviously has the depth knowledge, and she's chosen 2 appropriate ones. Okay? So, one of the ones that we picked was vision. Okay, and if you look on your scaffold, you'll see there that there is a described scaffold for it. What you would do if you're breaking apart these 3 sub-paragraphs. Okay, because you're going to have subheadings as well. Of course, the subheading for this one is, we're choosing to talk about vision, so the subheading's obviously got to be vision. Yes?
Can we use red?
Yes?
Subheading?
Actually.
You can't?
No. Should all be one colour. Should all be one colour.
It's only black pen.
It's always black pen, but I'm wondering if it's pencil for drawing.
Oh yeah.
No, that's for the subheading. How are they gonna like?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's going to be black pen for any bit of writing.
Just underline it. Yeah.
Just underline it, exactly right. Or make it slightly bigger.
so
Tomato, tomato.
Can we use
Just give me a sec.
writing caps?
I'll double check. I don't think you'll be able to use highlighters. I'll double check with the other business studies teachers, just to check with the red pen, but I'm pretty sure not. And with the pencil. Shireen?
oh, you already answered my question, don't worry.
Good. Okay? So, your subheading will of course be taken from the diagram. That's why you did the diagram. Okay? And a skill you will talk about in detail. Now, let's have a look. We've got a brief sentence to start us off. In the case of Johnson & Sons Mechanics, the management skill of vision is of vital importance with desire to achieve higher goals in the future, including more employees and a more stable customer base. Once again, we've mentioned the business, but we're also drawing back to the stimulus material and saying, this is what their goals are, this is what their vision is. So let's explain in more detail. Okay? You look entirely too happy, you two. You look entirely too happy. I'm not used to seeing smiles in business studies. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Except for that one, you know, she's easily pleased.
Talking about joining in, yeah.
Alright, so you got to integrate the stimulus by incorporating relevant information about Johnson & Sons Mechanics. Now, because it's a described question, the scaffold that we'll use is very simple. Okay? First of all, define. Easy. simply talk about what vision is. Okay? The skill of vision is when a manager is able to set a long-term goal for the business that is achievable. These goals are often set 10 to 15 years in the future and supported by goals and short-term objectives. Done. Move on. Okay? The next one is the example. Okay? At Johnson's & Sons Mechanics, the managers have been able to show some amount of vision with their goals of hiring more employees and achieving a more stable customer base in the future. Once again, we've related back to that scenario. But keep in mind, the scenario might not always have an example for you to draw upon. That would mean that if you were to describe the skills of effective management and you couldn't find it in the actual scenario, you would use a hypothetical one. Okay? Because obviously Johnson & Sons isn't the best business running at the moment and they're not going to have all the skills of effective management. Okay? The next one is characteristics and features. Okay? How do we recognise it? However, they have not been able to show how they will achieve this vision through their inability to provide short-term objectives and goals that will set them up for success. So we're further describing, saying, well, they're not showing that actual skill. This is followed by the link. Clearly, Johnson & Sons Mechanics needs to develop the management skill of vision if it is to survive in the business world. The relevance for your report is that. Okay, you've gone straight back to management skill and said they need this. Okay. Now, obviously, you would then follow on with two more or one more. Okay, you could easily get by with this one with only doing two. Okay. Following on with one or two subheadings doing the exact same. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, it's more or less just like a mathematical formula. If you have described, you've got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, move on. Okay? And that's what this scaffold's really nice for. It simply gives you the formula of what you need to do for each verb. Okay? Now, the main body 2, responding to challenges at the establishment stage of the business life cycle. Once again, our scaffold will change. Because what's the directive with number 2? Explain, exactly right. Okay? So our directive has changed, so our structure will change. Okay? Once again, we start off with a very small paragraph at the start describing what we're on about. Businesses can face many challenges at different stages of the business life cycle. Johnson & Sons Mechanics is currently at the establishment stage and may encounter problems such as those shown in figure 1.2. Labelled my figure, and I've very well established what business stage they're at. Okay, if someone's asking you, respond to the challenges that they will encounter at this business stage, you have to bloody well state the stage that they're in. Okay, pick one of those 4 stages, go forth. Okay, so once again, you of course incorporate a mind map, which is going to show your knowledge, and in-depth one at that, of every one of the challenges that you could talk about. Of course, you're going to pick only 2 or 3 to talk about, but it's good to be able to show the marker, hey, I actually know more than what I'm currently writing. Okay? So, please don't do a mind map like that in your exam. That's only because I was working on Microsoft Word and it's annoying. Okay, easiest one to do, just put it in the middle, branch off. Okay, don't make it too complex. So, challenges at the establishment stage. We've got some brief dot points. High fixed costs, slow growth in sales, limited marketing opportunities, and inexperienced management. Once again, there's many others besides that, but these are the four that I've written down. Okay? Management must adapt to overcome these challenges and respond to them accordingly. Keep in mind that the directive was not just describe the challenges that a business might have. It was explain how they might respond to them. So your responses are going to be all about how are they going to respond to these challenges. Now you've brainstormed all the different challenges. Your subheadings are going to be about how they're going to respond to them. Okay? So if we pick that subheading of inexperienced managers, okay, or inexperienced management, once again, we get a very short, small paragraph at the start. Integrate the syllabus stimulus by incorporating relevant information about Johnson & Sons Mechanics. Well, what's our relevant information? How do we know that they've got inexperienced management? In the case of Johnson & Sons Mechanics, there is a severe lack of experience in management from the managers who have no formal qualifications. We know that. Said that in the scenario. Let's bring it out. Okay? Once again, we break it into a topic sentence, but in this case, we have cause, effect, and link. Okay? Now, for a topic sentence, using the scaffold I've explained, experience in management is often a critical factor in the establishment stage of the business and can determine whether a new business survives or declines. You're specifically telling me a very short summary, why is this skill important? Why do I need to read about it? Because if you don't, you're either going to go up or down. Okay? Then we're looking at the cause. This inexperience in management comes from both owners of the business having no prior management experience. That can be seen in no formal training / qualifications in management. So when you're looking at the cause, you're basically ripping out the part of the text that is telling you that there is a problem here. Okay? And you've got to make sure that you've put the wording from the text in that cause. What's the effect? Well, this requires you to think a bit further ahead. They've given you the scenario. Now you have to look at all the possible consequences of that scenario. And the consequences are the effect. The inexperience amongst managers in this business could easily lead to ill-informed and reckless decisions. These decisions could easily affect the future growth and security of the business, and without the assistance of outside intervention or the continued training of managers, the business may decline. Keep in mind, you could probably kick off that last sentence and shorten that down to 2 sentences. Okay? Link. Although the overall, through the hiring of business consultants and engaging in further training, Johnson & Sons Mechanics may overcome the challenge of inexperience at the establishment stage. That's your recommendation. So in that linking part, you've got the recommendation. They should hire those business consultants, otherwise they're going to go down. Okay? Now, the third one is a bit different, and to be honest, I simply just didn't have time to go through it all. Okay? And I'll try to go through that one at the start of next lesson. Okay? But the third one is an assess. An assess is a different kind of beast. Okay? We don't generally like it. Generally in business studies, you will find the assess question in the actual essay part. But it doesn't mean that sometimes it doesn't creep into a business report. Okay? Now when we're doing assess, of course you're making the judgment and you're basically making points for your side. Now when you're doing assess, do you have to do both sides of the argument?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes,
What would be the one where you have to do both sides of the argument? Discuss, okay? Because discuss would mean that you're having a two-way conversation. You're pointing out the advantages and disadvantages. If you're doing assess, you're making a judgment, okay? Now, you might do the positive for assess and go, here's all the positives of having a business plan, here's a negative, but these positives outweigh that negative, okay? But you can get away with this by just doing advantages and then pointing out why a disadvantage isn't really a disadvantage anyway, it's actually an advantage. Okay? So once again, topic sentence at the beginning of each paragraph, followed by example, an explanation. 3 to 4 paragraphs, that was a fully essay-based question. So if you were given that third one as just an essay question for 20 marks, you're looking at least 3 to 4 paragraphs. Okay? Because this one is tacked on to the end of a business report, you're probably looking at 1 to 2 subheadings. Okay? Where if you did boom, 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 boom twice, call it quits. Okay? Now, keeping in mind, although a lot of this looks like a lot of writing altogether, you'll find out the executive summary is probably the longest part of that, which it shouldn't be. That's my fault. Okay? But you'll see a lot of this is one sentence, figure, sentence, 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 boom. Together it looks like a lot, but when you look at it individually, it's not actually a lot, and it's quite formulaic. Yes?
So compared to our report that we did for the assessment, we're basically just summarizing each, like, subheading into smaller parts
Yeah.
for the reader to understand.
Absolutely.
Like,
Okay, and that's as Hitachi said, you're basically just going through all the subheadings and summarizing them and putting your recommendations on the end of them. Okay? Now, are there any questions? Yep. Yeah.
So like, you know how there's an essay in one of the sections?
Yes.
So we have to refer to our case studies.
So, with the essay, what I'll try and do is, next lesson I'm going to start off with just going through that assess one, and I'll go through the next lesson with the essay. Okay? So, Ritu's question was, with essays, do we have to refer to case studies? Okay? Always try to refer to hypothetical case studies. Now, we didn't do too many hard case studies in our actual one. So if you're a bit light on case studies in this examination, I'll take that into consideration. Okay, because we didn't hit too many case studies. We mostly focused on, what's the word, academic knowledge and things like that, hypotheticals. Okay? Keep in mind, you do have excellent case studies to pick from the ones that you've done in your actual assessment. Okay? Lovely little bits of information there that you can probably use in the actual assessment. Okay? We have, no, we're done. Wait, no, is period 2 end quickly today, or is it just period? Then, none on that? Yep.
So we can just choose one.
I would pick 2. Yep. Alright, girls, you all have a lovely day.
What about what?
More or less.
Is it going to?
No,
I'm actually not too
I'm
sure.
enjoying this lesson. Yeah, I am.
So we actually go to 10:30.
I was quiet. I told him I behaved actually. Sir, did I behave?
What's back? What?
Did I
Oh, did you behave? Yes, yes. Good work. Sorry, I thought it was like some new thing I had to understand that I don't. Kids are weird these days.
Yeah, I need to figure that.
Alright. Yep, good. So girls, I will put the answers for the do now on Google Classroom. Check your work.
Is that what day is it?
Tuesday. I think I have you again tomorrow. Or is that ancient? I have tomorrow. Might be ancient. Thursday.